Hello, everyone. I would like to take the time today and discuss the ongoing coronavirus scare. The coronavirus is a very real problem, and there are several issues in the reporting of coronavirus from one or two sources in particular. That being said, as of yesterday, February 26th, and today, February 27th, officials from the CDC in the US and the World Health Organization have come out and spoken about the severity and the cause for concern. I want to quickly touch upon what I mean by cause of concern. I mean in the context of something you are concerned or interested in, something that can move you to action, similar to the use of the word bother, that while a negative connotation could mean something that brings a response of some action. Feel free to nitpick that on its etymology, but I don't care, I'm ranting. Back to the important part. So coronavirus, also known as COVID-19, is actually a misnomer. What I mean is coronavirus. According to the CDC, a coronavirus as a common noun is a classification of types of disease. The common cold is actually a form of coronavirus. Now, the coronavirus, as we know it today, is actually COVID-19. It is also why it's sometimes referred to as novel coronavirus, as in a new coronavirus. This virus allegedly was first noticed in Wuhan, China, on December 31st, 2019. Now, this coronavirus did not have an official name until February 11th, 2020, as designated by the WHO. However, before then, it was declared a public health emergency of international concern on January 30th, 2020. On the WHO website, who.int, there are situation reports given out every 24 hours and gives you a map and graphics that are reminiscent of the Plague Inc. game, a game I'm quite partial to, in fact, but we'll actually get to that game a little bit later. But based on Situation Report 38, the most recent report available to me at the time of recording, 82,295 confirmed cases of COVID-19 exist, of which 78,630 are Chinese-based. Now, although a vast majority of cases are in China, 46 countries worldwide have reported cases and 57 deaths have occurred, or at least as far as the WHO knew at the time of making this graphic. Now, before I move on to explain what else has been going on, there is a bit of a conspiracy that I must at least state for the record and will likely get silenced for. This is how much is reported to the WHO. Primarily, the reported numbers are coming from China as the epicenter of this disease. However, there have been some significant developments that happened in China that make the little skeptic in my head lean forward in the chair, cock an eyebrow, and ask, oh really? Extreme quarantines have taken place in China. The Independent even reported an incident of forced quarantine, showing a video of a woman being quarantined while screaming several weeks back. There have been drones spraying down the city of Wuhan. People were killing house pets in fear due to a misunderstood report that speculated the ability for animals to carry the virus very early on in the outbreak, of which I cannot confirm the validity of this theory, but it was out there and people responded in an extreme fashion. There were videos of officials in Wuhan in protective suits walking down the street with guns. I'm not talking hunting rifles. It looked like a communist crackdown, honestly. I do not know what happened regarding those individuals, but they were captured on video. Multiple hospitals dedicated to curing this outbreak also went into an expedited construction period at this time. And at this point, today, nurses on the front lines of this outbreak in Wuhan are either requesting assistance from the world at large or dying themselves. Probably, in my opinion, less to do with the virus itself and more likely due to the fact that they are stressed, overworked, probably very little sleep, and constantly in a compromised environment. Those stresses on the body do eventually wear one down and make them more susceptible to getting sick. So, though these individuals may have been able to hold off COVID-19 before, in this circumstance they succumb to the disease, but this statement is based on pure speculation because China has simply not said anything to us. China has actually gotten so upset at the circumstances posed in their country that today they saw fit to remove Plague Inc., the game we mentioned earlier, from the App Store, calling it illegal content. Whenever there had been an outbreak of any kind, Plague Inc. sees a jump in downloads. This Kotaku article makes note of such behavior, saying, Plague Inc. surged in popularity in China in late January as the number of people diagnosed with COVID-19 grew. Something similar happened in 2014 during the Ebola outbreak. In response, Endemic Creations released a statement on January 23rd, trying to discourage people from using the game as a source of information about the outbreak. But Communist China was never the main subject of the download until now. We all could speculate as to why China did this, but I will let you guys comment down below what you think about that. So all of this considered regarding China's handling of this crisis, I am hesitant to believe their reported numbers. It's further corroborated when seeing the major outbreak that happened in Italy. Italy went from having a few cases to over 400 cases. It got so bad that now Italy is a travel advisory too, and the south half of the country is in quarantine. If this was just Italy, a relatively less dense country when compared to China, and they had this explosion of outbreak, what makes anyone think that China only has 78,000 cases? I wouldn't doubt that people are hiding that they are sick to hide from the government. Based on my family's history in communist countries, you want to be as inconspicuous as possible. Don't draw attention at all costs. Food for thought. Now, finally, yesterday, after the CDC had issued an ominous warning on preparing for the coronavirus spreading through the United States, Donald Trump addressed the nation and named Vice President Mike Pence to head the coronavirus handling from here on out. This had led his enemies to pounce on him politically, naming Mike Pence as one of the worst possible choices to handle this based on his history of poor comments or poor handling of an HIV outbreak in his jurisdiction when he was a congressman. Not to mention the drops in the stock market and the financial decisions that Trump has made in the past that has allegedly gutted the CDC. In terms of international pandemic response, are some more instances of attacks levied at the president in the last 2 days. What's bizarre is that before this week, comments were pretty mild when talking about coronavirus from the mainstream media, and even now they are more concerned on Donald Trump than on the health of the people in the nation, the same behavior they accuse the president of exhibiting. Meanwhile, the Middle East closed the borders to religious sites like Mecca. Several other countries have begun locking down, and we are in a waiting game. As the CDC said, it's not a matter of if, it's a matter of when. Now the US waits as people get infected around us. Quarantine efforts have overwhelmingly failed for the United States, citing the Diamond Princess cruise line in Japan and the repatriating of 4 infected US individuals into the population. But this is where we stand right now. This is major news on every news site, so I encourage you all to stay safe, wash your fucking hands, and be smart. Thank you for joining me today. I hope you all have a good one, and I'll see y'all soon.